Hey guys of the TFW 2005 forum. Um, this is the video that I promised. I'm done with classes. I took my board exam. I passed it. We're Gucci. On to the next stage. All my entire, like I said in the forum, all my parents, both my parents had COVID. I had COVID. I was going through trying to do on the rest of online school because my classes got shut down. I couldn't go into class. My clinic got shut down, so I couldn't do the rest of my clinical assignment, all that stuff. So for the last couple months, it was crazy. When I got the chest upgrade set in, it was a nightmare. That's when I got sick. I couldn't make the video. Then I got busy. Everything was in turmoil. So I apologize for not being able to do this sooner for the chest upgrade set. I also pushed this video back a little bit. I recorded it the other day, but I saw that my KO Masterpiece Bumblebee as well as the Jazz were coming in, and I really wanted for the second half of the video to put that in to showcase everything to you guys, because I like talking about the future of the line. What looks good with what versions. So many people ask me, so many people ask just others in the forum, what do I buy? Do I buy this one? Do I buy that one? I don't really know. That's why I love size comparisons. I love them because they give me what I want. I want to know what is the best variant for my money. So first half, I'm gonna make this concise 20 minutes. First half is just going to go into the what I did for him. If you'd like to do it, if not, the upgrade pieces. Do you buy it? Do you not? And then the rest will be size comparisons and talking about the line and what's happening. So I'm going to angle the camera down. This is how you see him. This is with the head upgrade set. This is with the movie 1 sternum piece in. These are with the doors, the side mirrors that I've attached as well. And if you'll notice, the chest is lower. This is because I'm the one who made this mod. I'm the one who first tried it, and then everyone has followed suit. I have made a video on it. Thank you to everyone that's watched it. I thought a couple hundred of you might see it. It has over 10,000 views. It's fucking crazy to me. So thank you so much for that. Apologies for the curse or whatever. But it was very surprising and very crazy. I just keep seeing the numbers go up. So I'm glad you guys liked it. Have a couple dislikes, have much more likes on it. So that's always nice. All the comments are very inquisitive and positive. So that's awesome. Just to show you guys, if I put my hand there to take the light away, you can see how piercing those blue eyes are. I'm going to actually turn them off right now just so I don't mess with the battery. I do have to contact Dino Model Shop. I don't know how to replace the batteries on this, if I can just take the head off. But, if I find out, I'll get back to you guys in the forum. So, I wanted to show off the pieces right here of the upgrade set. I have everything to buy. I don't have the knuckle dusters for Dark of the Moon. I'm not so big on them, as I used to be. So I really want this to be my movie 1 cast. But I said, what, if I can switch in between Dark of the Moon and that, I'll do it just fine. I want to say that's not actually possible with my mod because they didn't have it in mind. Perfectly understandable, but very depressing for me and any of you that choose to say that the chest looks better that way, and is more stable, and then you can't use the pieces. So I want you guys to know what you're getting into. The Dark of the Moon specific pieces, this is what all these are. This piece is shorter than the movie 1 variant, so it rides up more. That's to accommodate for this. See, it's almost kind of like a circle. It fits like that. So that's aesthetically what it'll kind of be looking like, and that'll be on Prime. There are 2 pegs right here that I've cut off of the piece here. I've left this big post. The 2 rings right here on Prime. 2 gold rings. Apparently the 2 pegs were supposed to go into there. I tried with all my might to get it secure. It just barely fit. It was garbage to me. But with my chest mod going, like lowering those ab sections, lowering the windows, this was made to really be elevated. And in doing so, you know, I could still technically, if I chose to, I could put this piece. These two square pegs here go right into here. Just like if you can get it lined up, they go in there fine. But I didn't mod that. But this one I've modded to give me extra clearance to, if I choose to, you know, just kind of stuff it and wedge it in between here and keep it like that. And then I'd have to use the Dark of the Moon piece and put it higher up. My initial photo that I showed when in the forum when I had this head, I had this one. Since then, I have chosen to take the plunge and try what I was afraid to. When I did it with this, and I want you guys to be aware, if you choose to do what I did with the Movie 1 chest piece to get it looking like this, you have to be very careful with what you're doing and understand the risk you're taking. This is not molded. This is not ABS. This is 3D printed plastic. As such, you can kind of see some of the grain in there, especially right here. This is much more brittle, especially on this part. You see those horizontal striations, maybe a little bit. You know, it's harder to see on camera, but you can definitely pick it up in person, even with the paint. You're risking breaking this, so you can see how much material I had to come off. This is because that hinge in there has to rest here. Otherwise, what this was doing was sitting up like this. It was puffing out. It looked like crap, you know. I wasn't about that. That Autobot symbol is supposed to go inside, in between both ab sections, underneath the windows. So I had to shave off the sides very carefully. You can see kind of, I filed it down and everything, sculpted it. You can see how much material I've taken off. These were even thicker, you know. This is like the same piece, but it is longer, you know. But the sculpt of it is also different. If I line up the tops, you can just see the angles without anything that I cut are different. So this one really kind of rides up on the hinge and will go flush naturally. Because this one went further down, it wouldn't do that. Now that I have cut it, it does. So, you know, just be aware. If you cut it the way I did, like I just showed, you know, just pause the video and look. You will have it fit just fine with my mod. They are meant to go with how the figure is stock, and I've gone into numerous times. I don't like how the chest sits so puffed up and everything. I think it looks bad. I've replaced the mirrors. These are the stock mirrors. These are the new ones. They're gunmetal. I like that more. Instead of that bright silver, the gunmetal. I don't know why they made the mirrors bright silver instead of like chroming them out or whatever. But, you know, having the chrome, the gunmetal, more chrome here, the brighter silver on the face, the gunmetal everywhere with the weathering. I think it looks a lot more uniform. These are also a bit more delicate, but, you know, they look a lot nicer. To go along with here, turn my my light down. There we go. Optimus. Again, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, forgive me. It's incorrect. It's kind of a weird mix of letters. You've been talking to me a lot on this on YouTube and everything. You wanted to know the side profile. There you go. I think it's very, very compact. This chest isn't sticking up. Also, if you do the Dark of the Moon upgrade set without doing my mod, this thing like rides up into his throat, and it's all up here. The chest, you know, they don't show it from really. I saw one image from the 45, and this thing was coming out like this, and it didn't even have this head. It had the stock head, so it was like sunken in there and everything, and like. You know, that's why all the images had it from this, like this dead-on center focused the chest, because it looks so much better that way. But when you know, take it back, it doesn't look as good. It actually makes it look worse. Something that I've done since the other video, it's not mine, I won't take credit for this one, just the alternate transformations, no mod, for the headlights. Instead of being right here, I have them sitting back in between this piece on top. So that looks even better. You know, that also eliminates that junk hanging off here with the lights, so that sucks in, so the really only thing sticking out is here. Yeah, the chest piece sticks out too much still. That's the nature of the MPM 04 mold design, that this should be sunk, like this is kind of negative space right here. This needs to be more in line with that. But if you do the alteration to the chest piece, you know, you will see my let me check. Is my phone good on battery? Yeah, it's okay. If you do the alteration to the chest piece, you won't have it stick out as much. You know, so I think it's more than worth doing my mod from before and all that. So now that I've gone into that, I'm going to quickly touch on the head. You know, you guys can see HD resolutions of this head. I don't need to show that to you. The plate, the replacement plate, is very self-explanatory. Just take out the 2 screws, pop it in, slide those on. I did have a little bit of trouble. I think it's just because some of the cutting I did on one of the pieces here underneath to get it in. But that plate does work still with my mod. You know, it's not molded in a way that it doesn't let it sit back down. They did it like a very simplified form of this one, not as detailed. Come on, eyes. There you go. So you guys can see that. Haven't decided what I want the thumbnail for the video to be yet. I think I know what it's going to be. Mouth, fantastic. Show you guys. You know, I'm not gonna be racist here on YouTube. There's no point to that, but he looks like a, I don't know. He looks a little Asian to me. He very narrow face, very squinty eye, just very bad sculpt, you know. And I hope nobody takes offense into that. It looks very weird. It doesn't look like he's supposed to be. If this was Drift, you know, Michael Bay, the racist that dude is, made Drift look like Ken Watanabe, so, but that's not what Prime's supposed to look like. This really looks incredible to me. Very worth the $50 for the full package. I highly suggest you guys get it. I like that the faceplate is just this simple piece that you peg on and off. You know, it doesn't just collapse. The head doesn't fold away. It doesn't obstruct anything. It's very plain. It's very simple. It's very easy. And forgive me, I have to plug my phone in. There we go. So, you know, I think it's very worth getting. But there's no tricks to it, you know. If you get the upgrade headset, it's really it. It just makes it look so much better. Show it off with that. It's bigger. It's nicely painted. Yeah, it is 3D printed, but the paint is pretty decently applied to it. It's very heavily applied. The details on it are exquisite. The colors, the different silvers and blues. The blue matches decently, you know, under harsh lights you'll see that it is a bit more lighter metallic than the rest of the darker metallic blue on him, but at a glance, like, it doesn't look out of place. His head was always felt more shiny than the rest of his body anyway, because they always focused on the head, so it kind of fits. This kind of looks like a movie poster almost. That's how good this looks. But that's about it for him. So now, my part that I like to talk about personally, where the line is going. Let me put him in the background here. I'm going to show you guys, I'm just going to talk about this for a very brief time. Let's get all these pieces out of the way. bring Prime over here. Let's bring... This is a new addition that I've had since the video I made previously. Now, I showed you guys the Black Mamba Revenge of the Fallen Megatron that I had. I still have it. Didn't get rid of it. But now I have the Movie 1 Model Wizard, which is still made by Jiang. You know, it's just their rebranding. So this is what we got. This is what we have. I don't have the Black Mamba Brawl. I still want to get that. I still want to get the Black Mamba, or the Jiang Blackout. That's the next one I'm adding to this collection. I've explained in the forum and in my previous video, my main efforts are to get the Movie 1 cast of both sides of the Decepticons and the Autobots. That's what I want in the collection. I'm not focusing on other stuff. Lockdown, I loved him as a villain so much that I had to still keep my Peru Kill. I got rid of my Challenger. It didn't work in scale at all. I explained in my other video, you guys seem to like that too, talking about scale. You know, so many people ask me, they ask other people, what do I buy, what do I get? Prime is 20, you know, to reiterate, Prime is 28 feet, according to the charts. Megatron is 35 feet. This Prime now, if I show you, because I have the legs a little bit different, you know, I have them shifted down so his torso comes up the whole thing to make it more aesthetically pleasing to me. He's around 29.5 to 30 centimeters tall, especially with this bigger head. So he is a little bit too big. But Bumblebee's 16 feet tall. He is 16 centimeters, or he's 17 centimeters tall. So I think I said 16 before, you know, I was a little bit wrong. Barricade, you know, he's 17 as well. He's 17 as well. Lockdown is actually 24, so he is too big. He should be 22 feet, so 22 centimeters, but I just said he's a tad bit big, you know, I'm fine with that. Jazz is 15 feet, so, you know, I like that he's to the top of his head, not the ears. He's 15 feet. 15 centimeters, excuse me. So he's supposed to be 15 feet tall. He's the smallest Autobot out of the original cast. So I'm completely fine with it. These Megatrons are... I can't find my tape measure right now. I had it, and I don't know where it is, unfortunately. Right as I find the ruler, finally, after all these months. So you can see right here at 30 centimeters, you know, he's probably around 34 centimeters to the top of here. This scale works beautifully for me. This is not perfect to what we saw in the charts, but it's pretty perfect compared to what we saw in the movie. You know, this Jazz looks a little bit too big, or he looks a little too small for the specific scene of him grabbing him, stepping on him on the pillar, and ripping him in half and saying, I want to. So, you know, the movie constantly changes. There's mass shifting, there's this, there's that. If you're going to say it's bullshit, the G1 cartoon shit, how do you have Astro Train? You know, let's be real, guys. In this franchise, in this hobby, you know, in this community, how are you going to have Astro Train, that's the size of whatever, of Megatron, transform into something that can take the entire fleet of the Decepticons away from being defeated by Prime in the movie? You know, like, let's be real here, you know. But in most cases, you know, he's more important that he is very menacing over everybody else, still over Prime, but Prime can still beat him, you know, especially when you see Prime in the Forest fighting this form of Megatron. This is pretty much the same. You can get the Aoi mech of the movie, the KO of the movie 1 Megatron. I know some people say that they want it to be really big and everything, which is fine. It scales better with the Black Mamba Prime, which pales in comparison to the Jiang Black Apple remold. So, you know, this is very indicative of that forest fight. He is the same size as that. This, to me, is indicative of him fighting him on the street in the first movie, rather than him being, like, enormous comparison, you know? Like, The AOA mech, I think, is like a full head taller than this, meaning he's wider, fully taller. You know, like when you add on a couple more inches, like a couple more centimeters, it adds a lot of mass and density to the overall figure, making him much bigger than, like, look how big he is compared to Prime. It's perfectly fine to me. So, my personal opinion, I go for, you know, that 1/30th, I call that scale, you know, just transfer feet to centimeters for the most part. This is the Megatron to get. This is 100% the Prime to get. We've already established this. You need to get this if you want this in a Bayverse movie lineup. The normal Bumblebee is fine for me. I just saw that price increase, and I said, let me try. You know, the Legendary Toys version came back in stock, a slightly different variant, but I personally like this more. I'd say go for this. I'll plug Terry Wong. You know, no sponsor of this, but I got Prime from him, I got Jazz just now, and Bumblebee from him. I've gotten this Megatron from him, and I've gotten my Transform Element G1 Masterpiece Prime from him. I absolutely love his service, I love his shipping, I love everything. I trust him with my stuff. So I personally suggest getting this one. If you have the original one already, you don't have to. I say only because of the tarnishing on the toes and on the top of the foot here and on the shins. Mine tarnished. It's no fault of me. It's just what happens with untreated metal for some reason. My original Prime did that. The Jazz will do it too. Anyone who has the untreated metal feet, you know, just no paint, no anything. This guy has his metal painted in him, the little die cast that he does have. So it's beautiful for that. I suggest getting this. My friend, his car doesn't plug together right in one instance. That sucks. But I've had no issues with that. So I suggest getting either the original or the 1-to-1 KO of this. Getting 1-to-1 KO of this guy. In contrast, this is the original Barricade I have. Unless I really wanted the purple paint accents instead of the blue, I will say go for him. He's cheap. He's like $110. You can find. I got him on Amazon, I think, for like $38. I saw him. He's just, for some reason, he did not sell well. But he's more than perfect. He's got metal in the feet. They're all painted. All of his metal's painted. So there is no tarnishing. There's no sign of any of that happening to him. So I think he's perfectly fine, and he fits beautifully together in both modes. I love having him. I've never had an impulse to go get the KO of him. You know, I didn't have it with B until I saw the new one was coming out, and I do have to say, comparing them in person with myself, the gunmetal gray and the copper everywhere instead of just the plain unpainted black plastic is much nicer. If you like some of Black Mamba stuff, you know, I still need to get the Brawl. This is the best Revenge of the Fallen Megatron we have, really the only one. Forgot what it was called. The Dream Factory one is too small. I love to have the Dream Factory Bone Crusher. I was so excited for it, and then I was like, oh, you know, it's just too small. It scales with the MPM 04. It will not scale with that. So if it doesn't scale with this Prime, I don't want it. It doesn't work. Lockdown's beautiful. There's been 2 KOs of this thing. I don't know why. It's really weird to KO something like this third-party figure. But what are you gonna do? So, to lightly touch, someone was telling me the other day that I was wrong. This Prime doesn't scale. He's actually, you know, I said in my other video, he's actually 18 feet tall. You know, when I made that other video, he was said in the charts that I saw to be 16 feet tall. Since then, I've seen some say 16. I've seen some say 18, and in between 17. You know, Bumblebee, from everything I've seen, you know, I think I originally said he's like 8 centimeters tall or whatever. If I even touched on it back then, he's everywhere I see. He's 11.2. That makes more sense. 11.2 feet tall. This dude's 11.5 centimeters tall. Beautiful, beautiful scale-wise. To this is crazy to me that this is the same. This thing will transform to the same 78 Camaro and will will have completely different sizes. I don't know why the two universes are this different. I couldn't tell you why Bay made this guy so big or why Travis Knight made this so small. I don't know. Shia here, I think Shia LaBeouf is actually 5'9", so he's 6 centimeters, meaning he's 6 feet tall. You know, it's not so it's a little bit big, but it's not like, he's not 6'5", you know, he's not 6.5 centimeters tall. He's Dwayne Johnson, you know. So he's okay for me, especially if we're saying this is a centimeter taller. This is like half a centimeter, you know, I'm fine with it. This is the 1-to-1 Jazz KO Sam Witwicky figure that came with. One of my friends was asking me, is this the same scale? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So if this isn't scale, they're claiming this isn't scale. So these are our two Shia options. But I just looked, and you know, and another chart that I saw actually had him being 17 centimeters. In reality, he is the same size as this B. I said he's 17. I was wrong, the 16. He's 17 centimeters. This scale works still just as fine. This works, you know, it's really quite interesting to see how big the Bayverse is in comparison. Lemon Tree Toys is starting to make Studio Series scaled Bumblebee movie figures. Like, they're coming out with one with this. I will get that. That will be my replacement for him, and he'll be sold off. So then, you know, I have a masterpiece of this Prime in the same scale as the masterpiece of the Bayverse, and I like that. So, just to clarify that up, in case you guys thought so too or whatever, you know. That is the truth of it. You know, I don't know if we got official heights for these, for the Bumblebee cast. But he is like 17, 18 feet tall, something around that. But the original ones I saw were like 16. But in reality, after I think about it now, I will say that does seem a little bit small. Especially when he was supposed to be like 8 feet tall. Now he's really said to be 11.2. That seems more realistic to me. 8 feet is, you're only 2 feet taller than like, than Charlie, you know, in the movie. That didn't seem right. Like 2.5 feet taller. That he seemed much taller than that. So 11.2 is fine. So yeah, that's it, guys. Made this a little bit more concise. I hope you guys liked the video. Like I said, if you guys want to see more of what I did with the chest upgrade from before, please watch that other video. Last thing I forgot to touch on in the video is that to fit this piece in here, what you will have to do, which again, I'm not transforming this one. I want to get a second one down the line. What I had to do, unfortunately, the tabs that tab both the windows into when you flip them up into truck mode, there's one tab here and then a tab here. They stick out far too much, so I had to cut them. I have not tried to put this back into truck mode. I assume with everything else pegging together, they will be fine. They still peg on the top here and hold them in place. I assume everything will be fine. I cannot confirm or deny it, but for me and my purposes, you know, people, you know, a lot of you guys are like, oh, I don't want this, the parts form and everything. I understand, you know, if you really want it, but for me, like, I want to get one down the line if they reprint it or get someone giving me a deal on it. I'll get the second one untouched, keep it stock. But this is, I keep this guy, you know, for my display is going to be bot mode, and I wanted him to be as accurate as possible. So that's it. Again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the views that you gave me on the last video. Over 10K. It's crazy to me. As poor lighting as it was, as poor lighting as this is. Again, I don't really do this. This is just to be informative for you guys. Can't wait for hopefully that Ironhide drops. Can't wait to see reviews on Ratchet. Can't wait for a KO of Starscream to go with these guys. Can't wait for that, you know, so we'll just have to see how the rest of I'll keep updating the forum with pictures and everything of all my stuff. You know, so many people have said to me, you've inspired me to go out and grab this dude months ago. That's very flattering, that I've changed people's minds on a simple video that I made, that now he's like